thank you so very much. We're going to have some fun and stuff. We'll probably laugh for a minute. Then I get to introduce this one dude. So we're going to have some fun. Not too long ago, well, it was probably 3 years ago, I'm in a position where I could hang out with John, and we text and stuff, and we're all cool and stuff. And I actually sent him a text. I pulled it up. It was funny. I pulled this text up. It says, I said, hey, John. This is me randomly texting him. Hey, John, just last week, this was Queen Elizabeth. This is when she was alive, so this is a little longer. Queen Elizabeth, Jay-Z, and Oprah begged me to make the forward to my book. But I said, no, I'm saving it for John Maxwell. So I sent that text, like, yeah, this is gonna be dope, to which he replied, ha, I don't have your number programmed on my phone. Who is this? That stuff was hilarious to me. But he did it though. I appreciate that dude so much. It's amazing. I'm super honored to be here. I can't even tell you. I realize that I have a different way of thinking. My wife points this out to me, but most people know that. In fact, that's what I'm known for, is thinking differently. But where it really came from is when I was a kid, I used to struggle with my reading. I'm talking about struggle. Like I read fine now, like the signs over the door that say excite, I can read that stuff. But I used to struggle with my reading. I couldn't sound words out phonetically. My mind would scramble. I have to look at the words differently. I look at the font size, the color, the positioning, what's in front of it, what's behind it, how many people responded to it. I actually came up with 7 different ways to look at a word to determine what that word was. Then I got really good at it, to the point in high school, people didn't know I wasn't really reading. I was just working it out really, really fast. Now as an adult, I read just fine, but I still have this ability to look at words and people and situations 7 different ways almost a minute. In fact, it's the primary place that I pull my comedy from. So random jokes would just pop up in my head out of nowhere. 2 days ago, I'm thinking, did God give chickens wings just for us? Like, they don't even use them. I don't drink 2% milk because I don't know what the rest of it is made out of. That's a math joke. There's 97% unaccounted for. Some of y'all suffering right now. Like, do he know? I was put into a class when I was a kid. There was a special ed classroom. And my teacher, the fast version of this is my teacher would never really check my grades. She wouldn't check them. In fact, one time she said to me, she said, why don't you skip school sometime? You're never going to be anything anyways. So all of this stuff was happening to me. I'm struggling with my reading, all this stuff going on, but I look at it almost as if it was been practiced, because now I have this ability to see things and find funny. I'm watching TV. There's a commercial on. You've seen it before. It's an old lady. She fell down. She's like, help, I'm falling, and I can't get up. First thing I'm thinking, why don't the cameraman help her? He right there. I went into this business, and it was clear they did not want to serve me because of the color of my skin. I'm not going back to that tanning salon. Listen, the only reason I went into a tanning salon is because I wanted to come out of a tanning salon. I timed it perfect, too. I was walking out, these 2 little white ladies was walking in. I was like, yo, they didn't calibrate. They didn't calibrate. But I can snap on beat now, so that part was for me. So people will ask what makes me laugh. Michael Jr., what makes you laugh? Well, what makes me laugh really is awkwardness. I really like awkwardness. Did you feel it just now? It is the best. I'll look for it. I'll get on an elevator when there's like 6 or 7 people in there. I'll let the door close behind me, and I won't turn around. They're like, what floor? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Then I'll say something random, like it's Tuesday, but it's really Friday. And then everyone gets off on the next floor. Then I just giggle my way to the top. And then I go to the stairwell, and them same people from the elevator. And when I see them, I'm like, it's Thursday. And they go right back down the stairs. So much fun. Here's something, you gotta do this. You have got to do. You ever go on a job interview and partway through you realize, I don't want to work here. This is a great opportunity to enjoy some awkwardness. You don't want the job anyway. They're going to ask you some questions. So tell me a little bit about yourself. This should be your response. Hey, why don't you go first? In fact, where do you see me in 5 years? Because they ask you those weird questions. They ask you questions like, tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a coworker and tell me how you worked it out. This should be your response. So here's what happened. My colleague took credit for some work I did. I did all the work, they took all the credit, never even mentioned me. So here's what I did. I walked over to their cubicle, fast forward, here I am. That's what happened, that's what happened. So me and my wife right now are doing a tour called Funny How Marriage Works, where we're helping people with marriages. And listen, I'm not a marriage expert, only been married once, right? But what we're sharing with people, and I want to share with you as well, because there's a lot of married people here, is one of the cool nuggets that God has kind of shown us through this marriage thing is there's a tool that you have that is so powerful, people just don't know how to use it yet. So I'm going to show it to you, and it's amazingly powerful. And you're not going to think it's powerful. You're going to be like, no, I don't even want that, because you try to avoid it. The tool is this thing called conflict. Conflict is gold. You don't understand. It is gold. People think what they need is more information to get the marriage they want or to get the career they want. You don't need more information. What you actually need to understand is how to utilize conflict. Watch this. I'm going to show it to you. So I have 5 kids, and I travel a lot, so I can see them all. All right. So what just took place? What just happened? You already have some information about Michael Jr. So what I did, I decided to add more information. I said, so I have 5 kids. You're like, yep, that makes sense. I heard he got 5 kids. It's great. And I travel a lot. Yes, that's true. Of course, he's here. He's traveling all the time. I'm adding to your information. But then I introduced the conflict. I said, I travel a lot so I could see them all. And because you were curious, through the conflict, you got to the next portion, which was revelations exposed by your laughter. Without the conflict, there's no revelation. There's no laughter. You don't get the revelation without the conflict. I'll show it to you again. So I have 5 kids, and I love them. See? Nothing. You're just staring at me. You know why? Because that's just information. And what you really need is to understand the conflict and how to utilize it for your advantage. At the risk of confusing you a little more, because I can't go way into this, another thing we like to teach people is in marriage, you shouldn't compromise. And that's always the response I get. Let me ask this question. If a bridge was compromised, would you drive over it? Would you like to have a compromised outfit? What about a compromised computer? So why would you purposely live in a compromised marriage? In fact, so here, let me say this. Compromise is like a spare tire, right? It can get you to the next destination, but it's not good for the long haul. Some of y'all got 4 donuts on your marriage right now. Wonder why the ride is so rough. Because here's what I learned about compromise. Whenever you compromise, whatever you compromised on, you can't really talk about that thing anymore. You gotta sweep it under the rug, but now there's a lump in your rug and you wonder why your spouse is tripping. And then the more lumps you get in your rugs, the less you can talk about. And then you start using phrases like, we just don't seem to have anything to talk about anymore. But then you go to work. With that person, you can talk about anything. I'm gonna jump back into some jokes. So I'm a hugger. I love hugging people. I'm a hugger. Fellas, we hug, right? That just got weird. No, fellas, we hug, but the reason it got weird is because, fellas, we hug, but we don't talk about how we hug. Like, we got rules, but none of us talk about the rules. Like, okay, I'm gonna share some of the rules with you. Rule number 1, when men hug, rule number 1 is the hug can only last 1.4 seconds. And you know the hug is over because rule number 2, every time we hug, what we do? We tap out. Tap, tap, release. Nobody taught you to tap out. You just know you're supposed to tap out. Tap, tap, release. Fellas, you ever tap out and they don't release? I'm like, tap, tap, bruh. Tap, tap. I was doing Morse code on this dude back. I tapped him so hard, he burped. I'm like, dude, you just burped. You just burped. You burped, man. Another rule we have is left hand under, right hand over, tap out, release. That's the rule. I don't care if you're left-handed, I don't care if you're from Australia, it's the same rule. It's left hand under, right hand over, tap out, release. Some of the fellas looking confused right now. Let me show it to you. You ever have a dude try to go under? He can't go under. He go under, you gotta go over. Now y'all slow dancing. That's all you're doing. You're just slow dancing. Turn on the Luther Vandross now. Well, maybe not for this audience, but let's find a song. So what I'm really called to do is comedically help people understand how to walk into purpose. I used to think it was just comedy, but God has been showing me some really cool stuff where it's really about leveraging this comedy to help people understand their purpose, currently in marriage. So it started out, people would ask weird questions. Michael Jr., what should I do here? What should I do there? And I realized we're asking the wrong question because they were asking what, but the question they really should be asking is why, because when you understand your why, you have more options for what, but your why never changes. So for example, like I mentioned, my why is to comedically inspire people to walk in purpose, but my what looks like doing more movies, more TV, more books. I got a lot of options for what, but my why never changes. So I was in Winston-Salem, and I'm talking to this guy in the audience, and he said he was a musical instructor, and I was like, well, can you sing? And this is what happened. So you're a musical director? Cool.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick if you know which version I'm talking about. Just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now, right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see.
So the first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you understand your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose. The key is to understand why. Now, I have been given the honor to introduce this dude. I love this guy. So here's what I've decided about the human being I'm about to bring up. You guys already know who it is. I know I'm avoiding his name because you're supposed to say it at the end like a great punchline. I've declared that John Maxwell is no longer he's no longer a noun. I think he's become a verb, what he's done. And what I mean is, literally he's a verb. And what I mean by that is because of him, I am in a position where I can Maxwell. Because of him, you are in position where you are actually action verbs because you are maxing well. Like literally, my community, the people around me are better as a result of this guy teaching others to Maxwell. So it is with great honor. I love this man. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. John Maxwell.
My gosh. I love you so much, Michael. You did such a great job. I want you to go on a cruise with me in July. They'll tell me about it. Okay? Do comedy. Thank you. Wow. You may be seated. Good morning. Wasn't Michael terrific? I love him. We've known each other for years. We're great friends, and I wanted him to come and just do a little comedy with you. He's just a beautiful person and always teaches great principles with his comedy, and I'm so glad to have every one of you here today. Welcome. We're delighted. This is the day where we learn, where we grow, where we meet new friends, that develop relationships that help us to really add value to each other. And so I'm glad. And in a moment, I'm going to speak to you on a subject called how to get out of the people pile. Yeah. This is so fun. And we're going to talk about that today because I want every one of you to, at the end of my little talk, I want every one of you to make a difference and distinguish yourself and get out of the people pile, because the people pile, the problem with the people pile is there's a bunch of people in the pile. And it's hard to set yourself apart. It's hard to distinguish yourself. It's hard if you're not seen to make a difference. And so we're going to talk about, how to get out of the people pile. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And I'm going to give you some just great principles that are going to just help you. So look at your neighbor and say, get ready to get out of the people pile. Okay? Would you tell them that? Get out of the people. Absolutely. In fact, look at him and say, why do you think I brought you here? I want to get you out of that people pile. That's what I want to do. And again, I just want to say this because we value everyone. So we never devalue people. But what I want you to do is I want you to be different. I want you to be exceptional. I want you to rise above average. In the people pile, there's just an awful lot of average. And I want to help you. And what's really incredible is I can. And what's even more incredible is that when I teach you how to get out of the people pile, you're going to be able to do this. And you're going to begin to see that it just makes a huge difference in your life. So I want you to write down 3 very, very short, very simple words. And it's out of these 3 words that we're going to teach you how to get out of the people pile. And by the way, I just want to say this while you're getting ready to take notes. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. I've looked forward to today. I've looked forward to this opportunity. I love Grow Day. I love what we do, and I love why we do it. And we want every one of you, by the end of this day, we want every one of you to leave and just say, I'm a better person. I'm more equipped. I'm more prepared. I'm going to make a difference. But the 3 words I want you to write down, the first one is ask. The second word is be. And the third word is do. Ask, be, and do. I'm trying to make this lesson as simple as I possibly can. Ask, be, and do. There are 3 things I want you to ask. There are 3 things I want you to be, and there are about a half a dozen things I want you to do. And if you'll ask, be, and do what I share with you, you're going to get out of the people pile, and all of a sudden you're going to be able to set yourself apart from others. And it's going to begin to be amazing what happens to you as a person. It's going to be amazing what happens to you in your business, in your career, in your family. It's just going to be huge. So let me give you the 3 things that you need to ask yourself to get out of the people pile. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what are my strengths? What is it in my life that I just really do well? I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. That's the first question you ask about your people pile. Because here's what I've learned. Very few people quit what they're good at. You don't quit what you're good at. You've never heard a person say, my gosh, I just quit my job because I was amazing. Oh, Lord, I was at the top of the class. I was making a lot of money. Lives are being changed. Oh, my gosh, I had to get out. I just had to get away from that. I just had to get away from that. No, you don't quit what you're good at. You quit what you're bad at. And what you're bad at, you ought to quit because you're not any good at it. And you don't get out of the people pile if you're doing what you're bad at, because that's why they have a people pile. But people don't quit what they're good at. So you got to ask yourself, what am I good at? Now I'm being dead serious. You got to figure it out, because it's what you're good at that's going to help you get out of the people pile. You don't get out of the people pile on your weaknesses. You get out of the people pile on your strengths. For example, I'm good at communicating. I'm a terrific communicator. I'm good at leading. Love leadership. I'm really good at creating. I love to create. That's why I write so much. And I'm off the charts with mindset. I have a mindset that just allows me to be highly, highly attractive to people and successful. Now, that's what I'm good at. I'm good at my mindset. I got an incredible mindset. I'm creative. I lead really well. Okay, these are my strengths. You see, I'm no genius. You got to understand this. I'm just kind of, the best way I can say it is I'm smart in spots. I really am. I mean, if we were playing a trivia question today, and every one of you beat me in trivia, I don't know very much about trivia because I don't let my mind read about all that stuff, because I focus on what I'm really good at. I don't focus on other stuff. So if I'm only good in spots, okay? But so what I do, now don't miss it, I'm only good in spots, so I stay around those spots. That's what you want to do. You don't have to be good at a lot of things. In fact, my father, who's an incredibly successful man, very young, and I'm the middle of the three children, he looked at us and he very quickly began to find out what our strengths were. And as we grew up, he began to build into those strengths, and he would just say, you got to understand, you don't have to do a lot of things, but you got to do the things you're good at. So if you want to get out of the people pile, you got to find out what your strengths are. And the way to do that is if you're not really sure, ask your friends to come around and say, tell me, what are my strengths? But you've got to discover your strengths. Don't work on your weaknesses. Somebody said, well, why shouldn't I work on my weaknesses? It's because you're weak in your weaknesses. My name's John, I'm your friend. You're not any good at it. So, well, I want to improve my weaknesses. If you improved your weaknesses, you would only become average, and average is average, and average is still in the people pile. You can only take your giftedness and increase it about 2 numbers. So you got to start with something you're already a 6 in and a 7. By the way, let me just say the good news is every one of you have strengths. Every one of you have strengths to get you out of the people pile. So look at your neighbor and say, you have strengths to get out. Go ahead and tell them you have strengths to get out. That's good. That's good. Look right back at him and say, and I'm waiting for you to get out. I'm waiting. I'm just, dear God, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Okay, the second question you got to ask yourself is, what am I passionate about? What am I passionate about? Because passion is what gives you the energy. Passion is what causes you to connect with people. I mean, my passion is huge. I have a passion to add value to people. I have passion to make a difference. I have passion to start a coaching company so that I can equip and train coaches to be successful and get out of the people pile. That's what my coaches are doing. They're getting out of the people pile. They're setting themselves apart. They're distinguishing themselves. In fact, I'm so proud of my coaches. I know that many of you are here. If you're a John Maxwell coach, would you just stand for a moment and make me proud one more? Come on, coaches, stand up. Look at these people. Look at it. Come on. Look at it. Now, let me tell you something about these people standing. You can be seated. They got out of the people pile. They got out of the people pile. One day in their life, they thought, if I'm going to really be successful, I better get in an organization that knows success. And I better get with people that can equip me and train me and develop me. and helped me develop a career as an entrepreneur. You got out of the people power. You made a decision. You took action. I congratulate you for that. That got you out of that power. One of our coaches, her name was Gabby. She came and I was talking about transforming a nation. She came up to me and she handed me her passport. And she said, I would like you to write the word transformation in my passport. I'd never done that before. I wasn't even sure it was legal. But I did it. One of my mottos is, I know the rules. What are the fines? I know how to get out of the people pile. And I wrote transformation, and then she said, she had one of my books. She said, I'd like you to sign that she's from Paraguay. She said, I'd like you to sign that for the president of Paraguay. So I signed it for the president of Paraguay. And I handed it to her. I said, well, you must know the president of Paraguay. And is he a good friend? She said, I've never met him. I said, well, wait a minute. You never met him and you want me to sign a book to him? She said, I know, but she said, I'm going to go home and meet him. I'm going to go home and meet him. I said, what do you mean you're going to go home and meet him? She said, we need to have our country transformed. And I need to see I got to go meet the president. And she went home to her husband, Tim, and she said, we got to go meet the president. He said, we're just people. We're just people. We don't know the president. She said, well, we're going to figure it out. This lady not only figured it out, met the president, had him write us a letter. We went to Paraguay. I met the president. He said he wanted transformation. And in that country today, over 10% of the population are in values roundtables today. And every kid in a public school is getting the values training. Gabby. What did Gabby do? Gabby got out of the people pile. Would you sign a book for the president? Be glad to. Do you know him? No, I don't know him. I'm going to meet him. That is people pile mindset. The third thing you need to ask yourself is very simple. What can separate me from others? What is it that I do that's so unique that it gives me an edge that allows me to get out of the people pile? One of the companies I started was a stewardship company to help nonprofits raise money for their dreams. And it's a tough business to get started in because you're raising money. And so the ones that are in that business have a big lead over you. In fact, there were companies that had helped over 3,000 nonprofits raise money. And so we started. And when we go to the nonprofit board and say, we'd like to help you raise money for your dream, they'd say, how many have you done? And well, we haven't done any of them yet, but you could be the first. And they said, no, we want to go with the company that's done 3,000. They've got experience. And I kept saying, I got to get out of the people pile. They're smothering me. They're keeping me down. And all of a sudden it hit me. Then I went to that nonprofit board after about 8 months of trying how to get out of the people pile. And I said, let me tell you what's unique about us. We're so young and we're so small. We can tailor make the pitch for money for your company. And if you'll just tell us all we'll learn about you and we'll let you help us. We'll tailor make a program that'll be just yours and only yours. You can put your name on it. And we just started signing contracts. 5 years later, we had the largest stewardship company in the world, raising $3 billion a year. And the largest company in America, 8 years later, they came to me and wanted me to buy them out. Listen to me. You can get out of the people pile. But you can't get out of the people pile if you think like the people in the people pile. The reason they're in the people pile is because they think like people in the people pile. And if you think like people in the people pile, you're going to be one of those people that will stay in the people pile, and you'll never get out of the people pile, because in the people pile, they just think average, and you can't think average. You got to think different. What separates us? John Wooden was a great mentor of mine. The man was the greatest basketball coach ever in college. He had 10 national championships. He won 7 in a row. In the Final Four, his record was 20 and 20 wins and 2 losses. In the finals, when his team got to the finals, they won every time they were in the finals of the NCAA tournament. And Coach, just for 14 years, I had this relationship with him. And one day we were talking, I said, Coach, what got you out of the coach's pile? What got you out of the coach's pile? And he looked at me, smiled, and he said, speed. I said, tell me about it. He said, you have 5 players. They have 5 players. He said, I recruit the quickest, fastest players to be on my team. I don't go for height, I go for speed. Because the ball is going to be loose on the floor 16 times in a game. And if I have the fastest players if I have 3 of the players on that floor if I have the majority of my players are faster than their players, he said there's 16 times the ball's loose on the floor, he said we'll get the ball at least 10 or 11 times. And that gives us 3 ball possessions more than the other team. And he said that's what usually wins the game. You see, he understood what he needed to go for. He needed to go for speed to get out of the people pile. What I'm doing now is I'm helping you in asking these questions to get a mindset and a thought. What separates me? What keeps me from being like all the other people? Because that's what I got to ask. I got to ask myself that on a constant. When I started doing speaking, I was with people like Zig Ziglar, Paul Harvey. I'm a 28, 30-year-old kid, and all of them are old enough to be my father, grandfather. And they were motivational speakers, and they were terrific speakers and standing ovations, and I loved every moment, and they were so good to me. They just kind of took me under the wings because I was the kid on the block. But after being with them for about 18 months, I realized that basically it was the same talk every time, and it was fun. But I said, I think I got to get out of the people pile. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I want to be a motivational teacher. You see, a motivational speaker makes you feel good, but the next day you don't know why. You just say, I feel good. A motivational teacher makes you feel good, but the next day you know why, because they give you resources and tools and practice. I pull myself out of the people pile. Those are the 3 questions you got to ask yourself. You got to look constantly to ask yourself, what are my strengths? What am I passionate about? And what can separate me from others? Now let's go to the letter, or to the word be. You've got to be intentional. You don't get out of the people pile by accident. Stephen Covey said you have to begin with the end in mind. Let me tell you something. Never lose the end. Never lose what that target is way out there. If you begin with the end in mind, you can never get distracted. Whatever that was that helped you to begin with the end in mind, you gotta never lose that end. Which means you're going to adjust, you're going to change, you're going to adapt, you're going to ask questions, you're going to be distracted, but never lose the end. In 1976, when I really felt called to train leaders and teach leaders, I mean, think about it. All of these years now, 50 years I've been training leaders. I've never lost the end. Every day I still want to add value to leaders who multiply value to others. I've never lost the reason I do what I do. I know I'm on this stage today. It's leadership. And what happens is if you keep the end in mind and you never lose that focus of why you're there, that purpose, that end, if that picture is still clear, what happens is then you continually build toward that target, and you continually improve yourself, and consistency begins to compound. And now at 77, the returns are huge. But why are the returns huge? Because I've never lost why I started. When people tell me, they say, well, I think I'm going to quit, first thing I ask them is, why did you start? Talk to me about why you started. Let's get clear on why you started and what you see, because here's what I know. What you focus on expands. So if you begin with the end of the mind, the more you focus on it, the more it gets big. And in the people pile, there are people that are filled with good intentions. But when you're intentional, it's good actions. And you want to go from good intentions to good actions. In fact, I wrote a book called Intentional Living, and I wrote it because I want to help people go from good actions, which are from good thinking and assumptions. I wanted to get them into actions, because I know there's no success without action. The second B I want you to know about is be flexible. Be flexible. In fact, flexibility is the superpower of leadership today, because you've got to be agile. Speed is fast now, and everything's going. You got to constantly be ready to pivot and to move in and out. That's why I wrote the book Leader Shift. And when I talk about people being intentional, which is begin with the end of the mind, and then I say be flexible, let me tell you the difference. When you're intentional, you know what you want to accomplish. And when you're flexible, you know there's more than one way to accomplish it. And so if you get out of people, sometimes people get in that pile and they don't get out because they're not flexible. They don't adjust. They're not adaptable enough. And that makes a huge difference. Intentional living means that I'm constantly working with the end in mind. But flexibility means that I realize there's more than one way. There's another answer. And if that didn't work, it's okay. I'll do a little U-turn and I'll go over here and I'll try. Because there's always an answer. There's always more than one answer. And there's always a better answer. And people that are flexible in their mind, they do that really well. The next B is be in the moment. Be in the moment. They've just done some research on this. The average person spends 47%. The average person, when they are with you, when they're with you in a conversation, the average person spends 47% of their time, almost half their time. The average person, while they're with you, is thinking about what they're going to do next. Now, I'm here to tell you that isn't the way to get out of the people power. You have to be in the moment. I'm a moment maker. I understand how to do this. I'm going to meet the moment, so I'm filled with anticipation. In other words, when I got up this morning, I thought, I will meet moments today that are really going to make a difference. I'm anticipating the moment. It's going to happen. So that causes me to look for the moment. And when I anticipate the moment, I see the moment, because we see what we're looking for. We don't see what is, we see what we're looking for. So I know I'm going to meet the moment, and what I know is when I meet the moment, I'm going to make the moment. Now what happens, I'm going to maximize it, because I'm going to take the moment, because I'm in the moment, and I'm going to make it much better. Now listen to me carefully. The moment doesn't get better by itself. You have to create the moment. Once you get the moment, that's when you begin to maximize it. And the difference is this. If I'm saying, I'll wait till the moment comes to me, I'm passive. But if I say, no, I'm going to look for the moment and I'm going to make that moment, and then I become active. If I talk about meeting the moment, I'm hoping to find it. But if I'm going to make the moment, I'm looking to find it. It's totally different. And you just don't want to miss it. And here, this is so good. When you are in the moment, do everything in your power to include others in it. Don't live the moment for yourself. Live the moment for others. So when I'm catching the wave, okay, and I'm sensing the wave, I immediately grab people and say, "Oh, you want to be a part of this? You want to be a part of this." You seize the moment and then you spread it. You spread it to others, and you let them be a part of the moment. I love doing things. I love living what I would call a get out of the people power, unforgettable life. And what people miss is they think that to be unforgettable, it's got to be expensive, or they've got to be brilliant. And let me just say something to you. If you realized how close you were to making the moment and maximizing the moment and excelling and creating an unforgettable experience in people's lives, if you realized how close you were and how easy it was, every one of you would walk out of here with the ability to take moments and maximize them, not only for yourself but for others. And so when I'm with people and maybe we're in an experience together, and I'll have a dozen. I was coming back from South America last year, and I had about a dozen people with me, and we were just on the plane, and we just had an incredible experience in transformation of the country. And so we're flying home. In fact, we dropped down in Brazil to do some education stuff with them, and they're going to put our values curriculum in their schools, and it's just amazing what's happening. So now we're kind of on our home stretch, and I looked at the 12 on the plane with me. I said, let me explain something to you. We're going to do something that's never been done before. And looked at him and said, what do you mean? I said, we're going to do something that's never been done before. What we're about to do in this plane has never been done before. And we're going to do it, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to let's get the cameras out. Let's record this. And they said, "What are we going?" I said, "Everybody stand up." They all stood up, and I said, "We're going to do the hokey pokey." Yeah, we're going to do the hokey pokey. Now I've got major business guys on this trip, and they're looking at me and they're saying, "We're going to do what?" I said, "We're going to do the hokey pokey." Nobody has ever done the hokey pokey flying home from Brazil in a plane. We're going to do the hokey pokey, and I got them all up. And we did the hookup. I wish you could have seen these business guys talking and doing in fact, let me explain how this works. Let's all stand up. Come on, let's all stand up. Come on, put it aside. Hey. I know how to make a moment. I know how to do this. Come on, folks. Let's get excited. Are you ready? Huh? Come on now. Huh? Are you ready? Here we go. Ho! Come on. Are you ready? All you got to do is watch me. Hey, look at the person sitting beside you and tell them, get with it, buddy. Get with it. Come on, get with it. Okay. Are you ready? Huh? Here we go. You put your right foot in. You put your right foot out. You put your right foot in. And you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Hey, you put your left foot in. You put your left foot out. You put your left foot in and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Give yourself a hand. Come on. Whoa. You're going to go home and they're going to say, what did you learn at Grow Day? Oh, you'll get your family stand up. I learned the hokey pokey. We did the hokey pokey. Listen, I've done the hokey pokey on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Oh, yes, I've done the hokey pokey around the world. We were in Israel a few years ago, and we were in the Golan Heights area where the tanks are looking over Syria. And we had all generals with us from the Israeli army. And I had about 40 people with me. And we got a picture on one of the tanks, and they just loved being there. I said, now let's do what's never happened in Israel. No one's ever done the hokey pokey on a tank. You ought to have seen those generals doing the hokey pokey with me. Come on, hokey pokey. Let's see, it doesn't cost anything. Listen to me. Every day of your life, when you're with people, just ask yourself, what could we do that's just fun, a little different, and just get everybody kind of out of the people pile? Now, I'm rushing because I want to get to it's ask, be, three questions to ask, three things to be. Let's go to do, because it's in the do that's going to be huge. Before I give you the do, though, let me just ask you a question. Are you getting hungry to get out of the people pile? Huh? Look at your neighbor and say, you're getting close. You're getting close. You're getting close. You can get out of the people pile. Here we go. The first thing, and every one of these statements can begin with this phrase, do something for someone that. First of all, do something for someone that they cannot do for themselves. This is huge. You'll get out of the people pile immediately when you do something for someone that they can't do for themselves. I'll never forget when my daughter had her second child, and Margaret and I were with Steve and Elizabeth, and when she had her baby, and after the baby was delivered, Steve looked at me, and my son-in-law, and he said, John, I want you to cut the cord. I said, you're kidding me. I mean, you're the father, you should do that. And he said, well, I did for Madeline the first, but he said, I want you to cut the cord. And so I cut the umbilical cord, and they said in the hospital it was the finest cutting of cord that they'd ever experienced. And in fact, they really wanted me to go from room to room, and I just told them I had to give my life to something greater than that. But every time I see Ella, I say, that's the best looking belly button I have ever seen in all my life. That's just huge. That's huge. And that night at dinner, Steve looked at me and said, John, you always talk about doing something for someone that they can't do for themselves. And I've been waiting for months to do that for you. You can't do that for yourself. I just wanted to say, here, you cut the cord. Now again, get the picture. Last year, I was so excited because for our coaches, we developed a financial wisdom mentoring program. And one of the questions I love to be asked, and it's a great question for networking, is who do you know that I should know? And I know a whole bunch of people that are financial geniuses. They're brilliant people. They're very successful with people. They do extremely well. And I bring them every month in as guests, and they teach financial wisdom. They talk people how to be wise with your money. And it's life-changing. We're in it halfway through it now. And the people in the financial wisdom, they're just saying, we have never seen anything like this. And it's so fun to let them meet people. Listen, they would have no chance of meeting those people unless I open that door. And let me tell you this. You know people that if you just open the door for some other people, It could incredibly change your life. That's why I love today. I mean, I'm bringing my friend Dion here with me. I'm bringing my friend Jamie Kern Lima here. Let me tell you something. You know, we're bringing great friends here today, and that's why I'm so glad you're here. I want to do something for you that perhaps you couldn't do for yourself. In fact, I've been meeting with the financial wisdom people a little bit while I'm here, and they're coming. They're saying, "Can we do a year or two? Can we go on?" Well, I've got more people now. Just let me explain something to you. Every day, ask yourself, "What can I do for this person that they can't do for themselves?" And you figure it out. And once you figure it out, you do it for them. The second thing is do something for someone that surprises and pleases them. Ask yourself, what could I do that would be just pleasing to that person? What could I do that would just surprise them? The story that I love is the story of Linda Kaplan-Thaler, who's a great marketing lady. She's the one who put "Where's the Beef" in Wendy's. She's the one that put the duck in Aflac. She's big. And she could literally, she got an invitation to go to Omaha, but she could have a 10-minute interview with Warren Buffett, just 10 minutes. In fact, she talked to me about it. She said, "Should I go all the way from New York to Oklahoma or Omaha, just have a 10-minute interview?" And we talked about it, and she's decided to go. But now she's trying to get out of the people pile. You see, the people pile has a whole bunch of people that Warren Buffett will do a 10-minute interview with. How can I get out of the people pile? So she read up about him, studied about him. She found out his favorite beverage is cherry Coke. So she went into the interview with a glass of ice and a can of cherry Coke. She sat it in front of him and said, "Mr. Buffett, I understand this is your favorite beverage. May I pour it for you?" And she poured that cherry Coke in front of him. And he looked at her and smiled, and he said, "Young lady, I love cherry Coke. It's my favorite." She said, "I know, Mr. Buffett. I wanted to serve you to that today." He looked at her and said, "How long was the interview?" She said, "Well, they said 10 minutes. Oh. He said, "Anybody that brings me cherry Coke, you can have as long as you want." An hour and 15 minutes later, the interview's over. Hey, cherry Coke got her out of the people pile. Now, don't miss this. You can add value to people, or you can appreciate value to people. Don't miss this. When you add value to people, you do nice things for them. You don't know them well, but you just do nice things that add value to people. But when you appreciate value, what you do is you know them well. What do leaders have to do? They have to find them. You have to find the people before you lead the people. So when you appreciate value, what you do is you know the person, and you know what they're like. That wasn't adding value to Warren Buffett. That was appreciating value to it, because he loved cherry Coke. Could I pour your favorite beverage? Young lady, how long do we have? 10 minutes. Oh, you can have as long as you want. What's happening? That's appreciating value. She knew what he loved, and she gave him what he wanted. This is huge. This gets you out of the people pile. This happened to me last week. At my house, I got a box and opened it up, and it was an Air Jordan box. And when I opened it, there was one shoe. And of course, as soon as I looked, I thought, I wonder what happened. There's just one shoe, and I thought, well, I wonder where the other shoe is. And at the bottom of the box, there was a note. It said, "John, please accept this Air Jordan shoe as a gift for what you have done for me. If you like the other shoe, please give me a call." His name's Chris. I gave him a call. And when I called him, he just was full of joy. He said, "Oh my gosh, it worked. It worked. It worked. I got a call from him." He said, I just wondered if it would work. And he said, "I did this, and oh my, you've made my day." And so I said, "Well, since I'm on the phone with you, do you have any questions you'd like to?" "Oh, no." He said, I don't want to bother you. You got time. You're important. I just wanted to see if I could get a call from you." What did he do? He got out of the people pile. He put one Air Jordan. But let me explain something to you. Don't do that to me. I thought, should I tell this story? Because it's a hysterical story, and I love every bit of it. But now we've done that, okay? We've done that. You send me one of something that has two, I'm just going to put it on eBay, okay? And sign. But do you see how he did? Do you see? He did something for me that was fun and surprising. Let me tell you another way to get out of the people pile. Do something for someone that hasn't, no one else has done for them. And why not be the first? Why not be the first? Mark Cole, of course, is like a son to me. Does a great job in leadership, running the companies. I'm so proud of him. We travel the world together. Mark's the one that believes in the power of proximity, so we do all of our dreaming and our thinking and our vision casting and a lot of planning. We do that together on planes and trips, and we go to different countries. And several years ago, I said to Mark, Mark, I'm a writer, and so I love pens, and I love Mont Blanc pens. And I said, I'm going to build you a Mont Blanc collection of pens that nobody else has in the world. And Mark said, oh my gosh, how are we going to do that? I said, you just watch me. I said, every time we go to a new country, we'll go to the Mont Blanc store, and we'll pick out a pen, and you'll have it, and you'll have a pen. After a while, you'll have Mont Blanc pens from several countries. You'll have more Mont Blanc pens that were bought in different countries than any other person in the world. You'll have the greatest international Mont Blanc pen collection in the world. And so when we land in a country, we're okay, where's the Mont Blanc store? Where's the store? And then we go to the store. This is so much fun. We go to the store, and he picks one, and I pick one. And then we come back and put them on the table, and we argue our case why that should be the pen that he gets. And in the beginning, he'd always get, because I was giving him his gifts, he'd go find the cheapest one in there, and he'd get the cheap one. And I looked at him, and I just would say, cheap. I said, I didn't ask you to get the cheapest. I get the pen that means the most to you. Now, let me just say, he's overcome that problem. He's risen above that. But now, Mark, how many pens do you have? 38? He has 38 pens from 38 different countries, and he's got the greatest pen collection of Mont Blanc around the world. And we we just love going to the store. We take a picture with the guy that sells it to us. But what we really love is arguing which pen it should be. And if I have some other people on the team, we'll all go. We've had people with 7 pens out there, and we're all arguing for the pen. And it's so much fun to start a fight, And just what am I doing? I'm doing something for him that's never been done before. Today, you talk about getting out of the pile. I'm very excited because, we have the I Lead program, which is values training that's in the curriculum. We've trained millions of kids in school internationally, and now we're coming to America, and we're getting in the public schools. And you talk about getting out of the people pile. This morning, I met some educators from South Carolina, Texas, and Alabama. Okay, there you are. How could I miss you? And let me say this. They've gotten out of the people pile. They've decided in the public schools that they're going to be the first ones to try out our values curriculum. And they're telling me stories about how it's changing lives. And by the end of this year, we will be in about 1 million students curriculum in the public schools. And we're going to 50 million in just a few years. But let me tell you something. I told them today, as I was taking a picture with them, I said, let me explain something. Somebody has to get out of the people pile to create another pile, to create a mass movement, to create a following. And I said, there'll be 1 million students this year. In 5 years, there'll probably be 50 million students in public schools, in the curriculum, in the classroom, right beside math and language. I said, there'll probably be 50 million students next year in public schools with the values curriculum. And I said, I want you to know, you're the ones who got out of the people pile first. You're the ones that started it. And I would like for them to stand. Just stand for a moment. We'd like to acknowledge these teachers. They're out of the people pile right here. They're out of the people pile. Look at them. Come on, give them a hand. This is what it's all about right here. Let me, thank you. I honor you. Thank you for coming, educators. Let me explain something to you. You'll never make a difference in the people pile. You're never going to make a difference. The difference you're going to make is when you say, I have to step out. I've got to declare myself. I've got to make a commitment. One of the reasons I so value our coaches It's because they got out of the people pile. You see, everybody wants to be successful, but very few people to pay the price to be successful. Let me explain something to you. The dream is free, but the journey isn't. And I watch people all the time, they have these dreams, but they've never paid for them. They've never gone to the table and paid the price. I mean, there's the leadership you do in your own life that helps you. There's the leadership that you can do for your family that helps them. But these coaches said, we want to make a difference in other people's lives. We want to get out of the people pile. We want to lead others. And they stepped out to be certified. Yesterday, if you had been here, we had just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new coaches stand, and we all wrote the certification certificates at the same time, and we had a countdown, and everybody we celebrated. Those people were celebrated. Why were they celebrated? Because they were willing to get out of the people pile. Let me just ask you a question right now. I'm going to go back to my lesson in a moment, but just hang with me. When's the last time you paid a price to get out of the people pile? When's the last time it was so important for you to set yourself apart that you said, I'll work a little longer, I'll pay a little bit more, I'll go that second mile? When's the last time you said, I'm going to get out of that people pile? And that's why we started our certification coaching company, because I wanted to help people get out of the people pile so that you can have my name. We'll resource you. We'll equip you. We'll train you. We'll come behind you. We'll mentor you. We're going to do everything to do that helps you set up for success. Okay, let me do a couple more real quick. This is so good. This is so good. Do something for someone that creates a special memory. If you want to get out of the people pile, take something that's happening and make it really special. Jack Nicklaus is a friend. And a few years ago, he said to me, John, if you want, I would like to help you in your nonprofit organization. So he said, why don't we get maybe a dozen golfers, and I'll get my boys, and we'll go play golf with them, and they can play golf with, of course, Jack Nicklaus, the legend. And then let's just, then we'll have them over our house for dinner. So every year, because Jack's kind, we have a little Jack Nicklaus Day. And we'll take a dozen golfers, and we'll have lunch at his club, the Bear Club. And then when we're done, we'll go out to the green. And I always have Jack give them a private putting lesson. And all these guys, the greatest golfer probably ever, him and Tiger Woods. And he's working on their hands, and he's getting their grip there. And while he's doing all this, I got my camera out. And I'm just taking pictures. Just pictures, not post pictures, just pictures of Jack helping him with putting. And when it's all done, I send them their pictures. I say, here's some pictures, life memories for them. And then when we take him over to his house, and when we go out, take him out to his house, he tells stories and takes us and shows us his trophies, and we make this incredible memory for them. Just last year, Ed Milet, who's a good friend of mine, I said, Ed said, it's on my bucket list, play golf with Jack Nicklaus. I said, come in. Then Ed had a conflict problem where he literally could play golf for a few hours and had to leave and go speak, and he felt terrible about it. But I said, can you come for a little bit? He said, yes. And so I said, well, get over here for lunch. And he was coming a little bit late for lunch. He's just sliding in. And so I sat right beside Jack, and I just held the chair. And as soon as Ed got here, I said, Ed, here, I want you, here, sit here. But Jack, he said, no. I said, no, this is your chair. I've been holding it for you. I want you to sit by the legend. I want you to sit by Jack Nicklaus. And here, let me take a couple pictures. Ask him some questions. Listen to me very carefully. You'll only get out of the people pile if you're continually thinking of others. If you sit with me at any meal, I will always sit with my back to the window because I always want you to have the view. I do every day dozens of things intentionally to set other people up for success. I'm taking pictures of people that Jack's giving putting lessons to. I'm not taking putting lessons. It's not my day. It's their day. Let's take some pictures. And let me just say something. If you want to get out of the people pile, the next thing that you need to do is you need to exceed expectations. You've got to do more than other people. You've got to rise above what average people do. Remember, average people do average things that give them average results, that give them an average life, because average is average. And there's nothing exceptional about average. It's just average. I don't know why people get so excited about average. I mean, think about it. Have you ever looked at somebody and said, I'm so hungry, let's go to an average restaurant? Oh my gosh. Could you sit us when they seat you? Could we have an average table? Do you have an average waiter? Do you have some average food? You don't get excited about average. Why? I have no clue why people spend every day an average, when with just a little thought and intentionality, they could get out of the people pile. I go back to the question, that mentoring question, who do you know that I should know? I was in Orlando, this city, 20 years ago, and I was having one of my learning lunches. I have learning lunches every month. It's where I ask 7 questions from people that are bigger, better, faster, smarter than me, and I learn. I've done this for over 40 years. That's how I keep growing myself. And so I was asking questions, and one of the questions I asked is, who do you know that I should know? And this gentleman that I had just met, but I wanted to meet for some time and hadn't learning lunch with, he said, well, I know John Wooden. He said, would you like to know him? I said, I'd love to know John Wooden. Who wouldn't want to know John Wooden, this great coach, this great teacher, this great mentor? He said, I'll arrange it. And sure enough, in about a month, he had arranged a trip for me to fly to Los Angeles to have breakfast with John Wooden, the greatest coach of all time. Now, I've got to get out of the people pile, because there are thousands of people that want to be mentored by John Wooden. And let me tell you something. My goal isn't to get a picture with him. My goal isn't to get an autograph on a basketball. Those things come and those things go. My goal is to get out of the people pile and develop a relationship with him, till at the end of our hour and a half at breakfast, he'll look at me and say, John, would you like to do it again? That's my goal. So now, how do I get out of the people pile? Because there are thousands of people coming through him over the years, and they're not having a mentoring relationship with him. They get a one-and-done deal. They're getting breakfast, and then they go home with an autograph and a picture. I don't want an autograph and a picture. I want a mentoring relationship with probably the greatest person that people coveted to have mentorship with him. So I got ready for him, exceeding expectations. He had 5 books. I read all 5 books. I took notes from all of his books and asked a bunch of questions. I memorized the pyramid that he's famous for. I memorized the whole pyramid so that I could, when we had a time, if I had a chance, I could literally quote the pyramid back to him. I got it all ready. I flew out to L.A. for an hour and a half breakfast. We went to the place where he always has breakfast, sat in the booth, did a little small talk for about 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, I can hardly wait for the small talk to get over. Dear God, I got friends, you got friends, I got family, you got kids, I got kids. That's a lot of people pile stuff. He finally said, John, he said, do you have a question for me? I said, I sure do, Coach. In fact, I said, I've got it. Could I just get my legal pad and pull it out with the questions? He said, well, certainly. So I got my legal pad, and he's sitting on the other side. And you have to understand, I have 5 pages of questions. Now, in case you're curious, it's 128 questions for an hour and a half breakfast. If you plan for a breakfast meeting, you get breakfast. If you plan for a relationship, you got to be bigger than breakfast. I laid that in front of him so he could see it. And he looked at the page. He said, oh, my. Oh, my. He said, are all those questions for me? Well, I said, yes, they are, but they're not all those questions. He said, you mean you have more? I said, what ought to do, Coach? Now, I'm trying to help you. My name's John, I'm your friend. I'm trying to help you get out of the people pile. Watch this. He's there. I turn it so he can see it. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He sits back in the booth. He said, nobody has ever brought that many questions to me. Of course not. My name's John. I'm not nobody. I'm somebody that wants to get out of the people pile. Oh, no. Oh, wait, I'm not coming like everybody else is coming to you. No. Everybody else, that's average. That's common. You see it every day. He said, you have that many questions? I said, yes. He said, we better get started. I started asking questions. Breakfast is over. He said, John, do you have any more time? Do you have some more time today? He said, would you be willing to go over to my condo and we could keep doing these questions? Because we haven't hardly made a dent in the questions yet. And he said, can you give me a little more time? Well, let me think about that. Sure, Coach, I can go with you. I went over to his condo at 4:30 in the afternoon. We're done with page 1. And he looked at me, he said, John, he said, you have 4 pages we didn't even get to. He said, would you mind? Could we do this again? Could we do this again? Oh, don't miss this. Don't miss this. There's a people pile. I just got a leg out. I got a hand out. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. You have to be different to get out of the people pile. If you always do what everybody always does, you'll stay in the people pile. You got to keep asking yourself the question, how do I separate myself? How do I differentiate myself? Oh, by the way, that became a 14-year mentoring relationship. The last thing that John Wooden did before he died was take my manuscript. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, for the book. And the last thing he did is he wrote the foreword for that book. I close my time together with you by saying 2 things. Number 1, every one of you in this room have the ability to get out of the people pile. As long as you're in the people pile, your life will be average. And let me say something to you. This isn't who you are. Every one of you, you deserve to have your place. You deserve to find your gift and distinguish yourself and set yourself apart from someone else. So I want to say to you, first of all, every one of you have potential to get out of the people pile. In fact, look at the person you're sitting beside and say, you can get out of the people pile. Tell them that right now. You can get out of the people pile. You can get out. And in fact, look at him and say, and it's about time you did. It's about time. It's about time you did. It's about time you got out of. It's about time you got out of the people pile. It's about time. Let me say the second thing. If you're going to get out of the people pile, there's a price to pay. The reason people are in the people pile is they like free. They like something for nothing, and guess what? They get nothing. If you want to get out of the people pile, you're going to have to make decisions you've never made before. You're going to have to be courageous. You're going to have to take steps you've never taken before. Trust me, as long as you stay the same, you'll be in the same place. You don't get out of the people pile by accident. You don't get out of the people pile by luck. You get out of the people pile by intentionally doing something you've never done before and paying a price that you've never paid before. Trust me, I've done this all of my life. I understand how to get out of the people pile. And my name is John, and I'm your friend. And as I finish my time up with you, and you've been such an incredible, fantastic audience, I just want you to know the greatest thing that I could have happen to me today is to see hundreds of you make a decision that you're going to change your life, and that you're not going to stay the same anymore. And you're going to do things that you have never done before, and you're going to be someone you have never been before because you've asked questions of yourself that you've never asked before. And as you get out of that people pile, as you jump that fence, as you begin to go into territory that you've never been before, as you become a pioneer and begin to set yourself apart, you just always remember, the moment you get out of the people pile, you gain a life of fulfillment and excitement and joy that you could have never imagined or would have ever experienced. And when you jump the fence, get out of the people pile. This is me, I'm out of the box. Get out of the box. Listen, don't even try to get out of the box. Blow the box up. Just blow that sucker up. And as you get out of the people pile, remember this. My name is John, I'm your friend. And when you get out and jump over the fence, I'm out here with you. And we'll do something great together. Because out of the people pile is where you'll make a difference. I love you very much. Thank you. Out of the people pile. Out of the people pile. Don't stay there. Out of the people pile.
0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good.
The winner of this year's Heisman Trophy.
And unique athletes. He is an outspoken Christian.
Story of former NFL quarterback and now minor league baseball player.
Someone who truly is changing the world, and that is Tim Tebow.
You've never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play the rest of the season.
Hey, we got 40 minutes for the rest of our life.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Skipper got it great. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on.
See, I don't believe the mission starts with your job or being qualified. I believe the mission starts with your heart.
Remember him, let my name is forgotten. And he in control, yeah. And he got the soul, got the shows, yeah. Bow down, take a knee, that's what I propose, yeah. Homie, what your manners? No cap. Every nation's anthem, we'll have to kneel to Hosanna on. Lord now, been Lord then. Never waited for endorsement. Never cared about a Forbes list when you got God as your portion.
With what I have been given, with what I have a chance every day to wake up and be my best. People, they want to follow someone that they see something in them that they want in themselves.
You want to make my day. The demons tremble, darkness moves, come your way. Reign over all, yeah, all to the throne.
I hope my life will be so much more than any championship, any trophy, any award.
There's something powerful about a leader that puts themselves out there. And I just have to encourage some leaders today to go and try something, because great leaders understand that there is an equally great risk in trying something new as there is in doing nothing at all. There is something powerful about a leader that puts themselves out there and just decides to keep it moving. You will make new decisions that everybody doesn't agree with, and people might leave. Keep it moving. You will hire the wrong person sometimes. Keep it moving. You may try and build trust, and somebody might break your trust. Keep it moving. People don't like change, Ryan. I know, but what they won't like even more is irrelevance and mediocrity. And if you don't make change your friend, that's exactly what you will get. And people will complain. Keep it moving. People will criticize you. People will talk about you. That's okay. You are built different. Keep it moving. People will get the wrong idea about you, and you will not have enough time to correct them, because it would require energy that is required for you to keep it moving. It will be lonely. Keep it moving. Global leader, I came to tell you, keep it moving, because one day you will wake up and realize you're a lot further than you used to be because you were willing to fail things most people are too afraid to even try.
If I'm gonna do something, I'm putting my soul into it. If I'm going to my kid's soccer game, I'm gonna be where my feet are, and I'm gonna pour my soul into that. Customers feel soul. You can't outsource soul.
One of the most interesting people I have ever met in my life.
Turned his failed career as a rapper into a successful company writing theme songs for sports franchises.
He co-founded Marquis Jet, the world's largest private jet card company.
He ends up selling that to Berkshire Hathaway, started a water company that he sold to Coca-Cola.
New York Times best-selling author of Living with a Seal.
Itzer lives a life in the fast lane, climbing Mount Washington and running a 100-mile race. That's 100 miles.
Jesse is also a co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks. He's married to Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. This is the guy who travels with his own DJ and lives life with style and passion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jesse Itzler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Our next speaker was recognized by Oprah.
First African-American president of a private aviation company. Please help me welcome Stephanie Chung.
If you were in an aircraft flying from California to New York and you were 1 degree off and you didn't self-correct, you would miss LaGuardia by 40 miles. So now leaders, let's act like we're all pilots for a second. All good pilots are paying attention to make sure that they're still on course. Now the good news is that we can get this back on course. Matter of fact, we can build a better course altogether. Are you prepared to chart your course and become the leader that people need?
Come and see us on Day to Grow. I will promise you this. You come and bring your team, and at the end of the day, you'll come up and shake my hand and say, one of the best days I've ever invested in for myself and for my team. I'll see you there.
All failures aren't created equal. Some of them cost more than others. You got like double-figure failures, like forgetting to cancel a subscription. You know, it was a 7-day free trial, and then that night they came, there go $15.99. You can come back from that, okay? You can win. As a failure, you can rebound from a $15.99. But then there are some failures that will cost you hundreds of dollars. Go to Target without a budget. Go in to get some eggs, come out with a couch. You're like, how did this happen? The more expensive the failure, the less likely you are to repeat it. A 6-figure failure, you're like, oh, we're not doing that again. No. Here's what I have to encourage every single leader to do. You want to fail as early as you can and as cheap as you can, okay?
At the gym, they say the heaviest weight at the gym is the front door. And so I go to the gym every single day. Here's what that means. Sometimes I just go to the parking lot and I just park there and I watch other people go in the gym. I'm at the gym. I could be on the phone. Where you at? I'm at the gym. I'm not lying. I'm watching other people be awesome. But here's what I learned from going to the gym every day. Every now and then I actually go into the gym. And then I just meander. That's my workout plan. I be walking around. What you into, man? What's going on over here, man? That's awesome. I go in the steam room, look like I'm sweating, be walking around like, man, you putting in the work today? I'm like, it is what it is. And so I lost 30 pounds last year from just being in the right environment. Sometimes it's about putting yourself in the position to be successful more than it is about like trying to be successful. I feel like I am the product of the environments that I have put myself in. And there's some environments that are toxic that I choose to stay away from. I'll never forget the first time a Fortune 100 company asked me to speak to their board. They say, hey, you're speaking at our company, but our board's in town a little bit early. Will you meet with our board? And I said, I mean, yeah, because I do that all the time. So, yeah, that's not a problem. Sure. So when I meet with them, what would you like me to do? They're like, man, just do what you always do, man. This is your lane. I'm like, right. Yeah, this is my lane, you know? And so I literally had no earthly idea what I was just walking around. Hey, what's your name? I'm asking about their kids. I'm just trying to fill the time as quick as I possibly can. And before I knew it, they go, man, this was a powerful time. I went, yeah, because this is what I always do, you know? It's like, this is how it always goes.
with these kinds of things, guys. That's why I'm here, you know. This is why they pay me, you know. It is what it is. Like, no, like sometimes you have it figured out. Sometimes you figure it out. You got to ask yourself, are you willing to even step into the room? Or are you just so afraid to fail that you actually won't even try anything new?
I don't know if you knew this, but you were not born with resilience. You got to learn that. And the only way you can learn resilience is through experience of setbacks. The only way you can learn the skill of resilience is through failure. It's trial by fire. And so I've got to encourage you to be the kind of person that's willing to embrace new ways of doing just about everything. Failure is designed to get you to give up. Failure is designed to get you to shrink back. But every single time you take a step forward, every single time you get in a little tussle, maybe a little email argument, maybe you get put on a reply all and somebody trying to put all your business out there for everybody else to see. Every single time that happens and you decide to go forward anyways, you become a more resilient person.
In the end, your greatest risk will not be a failed experiment or a momentary setback. In the end, what could happen in your life is you can look back on your career and realize you never pushed past the familiar. You never looked beyond the traditional. You never pushed the limits of what you can achieve and who you could become because you decided to settle for the status quo when you could have decided to raise the bar. Can I be your best friend for just a moment? Come close. You're better than that. And you know it. Today, I am giving you permission to enjoy your life. Did you know that enjoyment does not come from circumstances? Your level of enjoyment is determined by your level of gratitude. And the more grateful you are, the more you're going to be able to enjoy your life. Listen, you might not have an ideal boss, but it's the boss you got. And as awesome as they aren't, do you know how many people wish they had a boss right now? Be grateful for the boss you got. Your spouse might be driving you crazy right now. Be grateful that you have a spouse to fight with. Trust me, I know a lot of people that wish that their spouse was alive to fight with right now. So call them back and go, we're going to fight some more tonight, and I can't wait because I love you. Your kids might be driving you crazy. You are one trip from the children's hospital from seeing it completely different. Don't wait for the trip. Hold them tight. You and I have to be grateful for what we have, and we have to be grateful for who we have. Some people think, man, I don't know how we're going to get through this. I don't know how we're going to get through this. I don't know how we're going to get through this. And I just like to go, well, how did you get through the last thing? How'd you get through 2020? How'd you get through 2021? You're stronger than you think you are. So if we can look at past failures, if we can look at past resistance, if we can look at past challenges and go, you know what, if I had enough strength to get through that, well then don't I have enough strength to get through this? I am a failure enthusiast. If you haven't failed lately, call me. I will teach you how to fail at the highest level because I want you to fail, because I want you to learn. My son, he took a game-winning shot the other day. They were down 2. He could have got a layup, but he took a 3. It was the first three-pointer he had ever taken in his life. And I'm thinking, what in the world are you doing? And it goes in and rolls out, and he's bawling his eyes out, and I rush the court like it was March Madness, and I pick him up. I'm like, this is awesome! All the parents are like, your kid lost. I'm like, no, he didn't. He's willing to take shots that most kids would never take. My son's brave. We celebrate failure in our house.
0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
Real good.
The winner of this year's Heisman Trophy.
And unique athlete. He is an outspoken Christian.
Story of former NFL quarterback and now minor league baseball player.
Someone who truly is changing the world, and that is Tim Tebow.
You've never seen any player in the entire country play as hard as I would play the rest of the season.
Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our life.
The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Stiffer got it free. Thomas to the 10. Stiffer's going on.
See, I don't believe the mission starts with your job or being qualified. I believe the mission starts with your heart.
Remember him, let my name be forgotten, and he in control, yeah. And he got the soul, got the shows, yeah. Bow down, take a knee, that's what I propose, yeah. Homie, what your manners? No cap. Every nation's anthem, we'll have to kneel to Hosanna on. Lord now, been Lord then. Never waited for endorsement. Never cared about a Forbes list when you got God as your portion.
With what I have been given, with what I have a chance every day to wake up and be my best. People, they want to follow someone that they see something in them that they want in themselves.
You wanna make my day. The demons tremble, darkness moves, come your way. Reign over all, yeah, all to the throne.
I hope my life will be so much more than any championship, any trophy, any award.
There's something powerful about a leader that puts themselves out there. And I just have to encourage some leaders today to go and try something, because great leaders understand that there is an equally great risk in trying something new as there is in doing nothing at all. There is something powerful about a leader that puts themselves out there and just decides to keep it moving. You will make new decisions that everybody doesn't agree with, and people might leave. Keep it moving. You will hire the wrong person sometimes. Keep it moving. You may try and build trust, and somebody might break your trust. Keep it moving. People don't like change, Ryan. I know, but what they won't like even more is irrelevance and mediocrity. And if you don't make change your friend, that's exactly what you will get. And people will complain. Keep it moving. People will criticize you. People will talk about you. That's okay. You are built different. Keep it moving. People will get the wrong idea about you, and you will not have enough time to correct them, because it would require energy that is required for you to keep it moving. It will be lonely. Keep it moving. Global leader, I came to tell you, keep it moving, because one day you will wake up and realize you're a lot further than you used to be, because you were willing to fail things most people are too afraid to even try.
If I'm going to do something, I'm putting my soul into it. If I'm going to my kid's soccer game, I'm going to be where my feet are, and I'm going to pour my soul into that. Customers feel soul. You can't outsource soul.
One of the most interesting people I have ever met in my life.
Turned his failed career as a rapper into a successful company writing theme songs for sports franchises.
He co-founded Marquis Jet, the world's largest private jet card company.
He ends up selling that to Berkshire Hathaway, started a water company that he sold to Coca-Cola.
New York Times best-selling author of Living with a Seal.
Itzer lives a life in the fast lane, climbing Mount Washington and running a 100-mile race. That's 100 miles.
Jesse is also a co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks. He's married to Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. This is the guy who travels with his own DJ and lives life with style and passion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jesse Itzler.
Good afternoon, everybody. Our next speaker was recognized by Oprah.
First African-American president of a private aviation company. Please help me welcome Stephanie Chung.
If you were in an aircraft flying from California to New York, and you were 1 degree off, and you didn't self-correct, you would miss LaGuardia by 40 miles. So now, leaders, let's act like we're all pilots for a second. All good pilots are paying attention to make sure that they're still on course. Now, the good news is that we can get this back on course. Matter of fact, we can build a better course altogether. Are you prepared to chart your course and become the leader that people need?
come and see us on Day to Grow. I will promise you this. You come and bring your team, and at the end of the day, you'll come up and shake my hand and say, one of the best days I've ever invested in for myself and for my team. I'll see you there.